I'm Shannon.
And I'm John.
And our daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes 4.5 years ago when she was 9 years old.
My daughter Haley is 19 and she's away at college right now and she has type 1 diabetes.
Hi, my name is Kathy. My daughter Carrie has type 1 diabetes. She was diagnosed when she was 5 years old and now she is 15.
Hi, my name is Sean. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes just under 25 years ago, and about 4.5 years ago, much to my surprise and my wife's surprise, one of our twin daughters was diagnosed as well.
I'm Ollie Double, and both of my children, Joe and Tom, have type 1 diabetes. Tom is 14 and he's had diabetes for over 13 years. Joe was diagnosed later. He's the older one, he's 17 now, and he was diagnosed in 2005 when he was 8 years old.
Carrie was diagnosed when she was in grade 1 at school. We were very lucky. We caught her signs and symptoms quite early, and when we took her to the hospital, she was diagnosed with a blood glucose level of 42, that's in millimoles. Those of you in the States, I think that's over 700.
It was kind of a little bit like having a newborn again, because you know, when you've got a newborn baby, you have a load of stuff you have to take out with you whenever you go out. Tom was way past that stage. He was over 18 months when he was diagnosed, but suddenly we found we had to take stuff with us. We had to take snacks and insulin and blood sugar testing kits and all that kind of thing. But with Joe, we knew what the signs were, so as soon as we started spotting the signs, we kind of, Jackie and I, looked at each other and said, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And we got him to do a finger prick test on Tom's blood glucose meter, and he was so high he was off the scale, so we kind of knew instantly what that meant.
Our diagnosis isn't any different from anyone else's. We were on vacation, and she was going to the bathroom a lot, drinking a lot. When we got back, thought it would be a good idea to take her to the doctor. I happened to be at work. My wife called me and said that they were on their way to the Children's Hospital emergency room, and luckily I worked very close to there, so they were swinging by to pick me up on the way. We got there straight into the emergency room. Our doctor had called ahead of time. The staff were amazing, but we did ultimately get the diagnosis that she was a type 1 diabetic.
When Haley was 11 years old, she was perfectly healthy, and then all of a sudden she started to lose about 20 pounds, even though she was eating all the time, and she was drinking water, and she was drinking all kinds of Gatorade, and she just couldn't quench her thirst.
When Carrie was young, I used to joke about her having to find a husband who loved me a lot, because I was going to move in, spend a lot of time at their house. I think I even told her she had to build me a granny flat. I never wanted her out of my sight. And when they're young children, you can't envisage them being out of your care. But they become teenagers, and we have to let them learn to look after themselves. We have to let them make their own mistakes. And we have to give them the confidence that they need to go out into the world, be their own people, and have a healthy life.
The feeling and the freedom to know that she can go anywhere that she wants to go.
To me, independence looks like what she does when she goes to school, and she takes complete ownership when she's at school. She checks her blood sugar in ways that she feels comfortable, and in situations where she feels wonderful, and she seeks out those situations or the right environment to do it, and she takes care of everything. I have to remind myself, though, of that sometimes when she comes home and she really wants us to take over again and to give her a break. It's not that she's dependent, it's that she's allowing herself a much-needed break. And I couldn't be prouder of her. I think she's doing amazing. My daughter's independence in taking care of her own diabetes has been a tremendous help for me to realize that if she can do this, I can do this. And if we can do this, you can do this.
Independence looks different from day to day. Independence looks like her going out to do what she can, and us just being the safety net. That if something happens and she needs us, we're there. It's giving her a safe place to fail, basically. Yeah, a safe place to fail.
The way my wife explains it so clearly and so well, which is vision that I had missed at first, we basically have a little less than 7 years left to give her all the tools that she needs until she moves out, goes to college, whatever it is that she does. And that's a precious short amount of time. We need to make the most of it.
Right away when Haley got diagnosed, she knew that she wanted to wear a pink pump. That was important to her. And she went to diabetes camp where she met other kids with diabetes, and that really helped her. And she also does walks, and she's always been involved with telling her friends and the nurses that around her that she has diabetes.
We've done our best to encourage independence at every stage. Obviously, independence in a 9-year-old is different than independence in a 14-year-old, which is what she is now. It started out small, letting her wander to another aisle in the grocery store. You know, that was like a really big deal when it first happened, and we first let that happen. And then it was sleepovers and school trips and, you know, just bigger and bigger steps, allowing her to feel more and more confident in taking care of her diabetes by herself.
So the turning point for us into this transition time started about 12 months ago. Carrie was chosen to go on a school trip to play netball in the UK and in Paris, and they were going away for close to 3 weeks. We sat down and had a really good chat. I made sure that she knew that I was there for her and that I would do anything that she wanted me to do, and I was there to help her in any way. But essentially, I handed over the responsibility. For 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks, I didn't know a single blood glucose level. Not one. Every time we spoke to each other on Skype or over the internet, she would talk to me about what she was doing and how much fun she was having and what they had seen and even some of the new food she's experienced. But we did not mention diabetes, not once.
My daughter is an athlete, so part of that, she plays club soccer, she plays basketball for her school, she also plays lacrosse for her school. And in order for her to be able to handle that for herself, I mean, we can't be there for every single minute of every single game on the sidelines with her. We have given her the tools that she needs, and we know that she can do it, and we trust her.
I think it's hard for us to let go, and I think it's probably hard for them. It's probably scary for them. It's probably scarier for them to start moving further away from us than other kids. But again, you can do it.
So a big tough lesson for Mum. We were approaching her quarterly visit to her diabetes clinic where we would be getting her HbA1c. And because I had stepped away and I hadn't been controlling anything, I was fearful of possibly the worst HbA1c ever. Well, she surprised us all. And in fact, she got the best HbA1c that she had ever got. Yes, lesson learnt, Mum. She can do it without you.
The most difficult part of encouraging independence has been just letting go. There's that old quote that says, success as a parent is making your job obsolete. So it's the same with diabetes. Success as a parent is making your job as a caretaker for them, you know, obsolete. So it's difficult, but we're doing it together, you know. She's becoming more confident in her independence, and it's amazing to see that, you know, as she grows into a young woman. It's really beautiful to see her taking on more responsibility and the pride she has when she handles situations that are challenges to her.
They do a lot more for themselves, and what that means is that I know how to do the stuff that they do less well than I used to. I used to know how to do everything and do it really quickly. But for example, when they changed their infusion sets on their insulin pumps, I couldn't do that now without their help. I couldn't put in one of their continuous glucose monitoring sensors. I couldn't do that. I don't know how to do it. I could do it if they help me, but they know more than I do. And that's kind of weird because you know, it's good. It's great that they're independent, but on the other hand, you realise they're growing up and to some extent growing away from you. But on the other hand, they're brilliant and they do it really well.
I know it's overwhelming. There's so much information. You know, your child has to be tested and you have to give them shots and all the complications that can come from diabetes. But, you know, it's all overwhelming at first, I know, but I just want you to know that you can do this.
It's really hard, and yet you can build it into your life to the point where you don't think too much about it. And that's the best time, is when you're not thinking about it at all and you don't feel you have to think about it.
It's very scary for us as parents, and sometimes we have to bite our tongue and walk away, but it really is worth it, and you can do it, and your teen can do it.
My advice would be follow their lead. If your kid wants to try something new, you know, if they want to take responsibility for something, follow their lead. Give it a shot. Let them try it, and if it doesn't work, that's okay. You know, give it a little while and then try it again.
One of the most important things that you need to know is that this will be incredibly hard. It will get easier. I cannot possibly underscore enough the importance of support wherever you can find it.
It's important to choose your battles wisely with any teenager. It's important to communicate with your teenager and problem solve with them. It's important to talk to other parents. It's important to open up their world to other mentors and to the wider community. The diabetes online community is amazing. I know some amazing young people with diabetes, young adults who I am sure will be fabulous support and fabulous role models for my daughter. Get on Facebook, get on Twitter, meet up with other people. I talk with people on the other side of the world.
Probably the biggest thing that I could say is that everyone needs to realize that it's a group effort, that it's not just a single person within the family taking the lead and trying to do everything. Both parents need to be there with each other, to support each other and to support their child.
It will get easier. People always say that, and you know, at the time you're thinking, oh yeah, of course it will, yeah. But it just does, like anything. It's really hard, but you get better at it. You get a sense of how these things work.
When I look back, I'm not really sure that there's anything that I would have done differently. I would like to have paid closer attention to looking for and demanding the support and help and expertise that I was missing when I couldn't get absolutely everything from my doctor or my healthcare team.
Not really. The point is, however hard you try, you're always going to make mistakes. The key thing to do is realise you've made it and then deal with it.
You know, she's only 4.5 years in, she's 14. There's a lot of room for us to make plenty of mistakes between now and college, say. So maybe talk to me in a couple years and I'll have a good answer for you. But as for now, you know, we're just kind of taking it one day at a time. And you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this.
You can do this.
You can do this.
Do you want to finish with a flourish?
Yeah, come on, flourish behind me.
Why would I flourish?
This is Tom. He's very independent, as you can see.